So just as we were working through paper 1 and I did an overview of paper 1, I'm going to give a brief overview of paper 2 for your 0500 exam, which is your IGCSE English. So this is, again, your May-June exam, 2023. You've got 2 hours to write this, and the reason you don't need to read, really. There's no reading involved. Yes, there is. Sorry, I was confusing it with AS. So you've got a bit of reading, but this is your directed writing and composition. So your focus is on your writing. But in order to do directed writing, just like we did some directed writing in paper 1, we have to have something to be directed by in our paper 2 to do directed writing. Now, it says read text A and text B in the insert, and then answer section A, question 1 in this question paper. So section A is directed writing, and you need to answer the whole question. Okay? If you come down, you'll see the composition. It says answer 1 question from section B. So you do not need to answer all of the things. You do either descriptive writing or this one, or this one, or this one. Okay? So let's work through 1A quickly. Question 1 quickly. So your friend has been asked by their boss at work to apologize to a colleague for missing a meeting. Your friend is unsure whether to apologize and how to apologize so that their boss is satisfied. So similar to if you were given a prompt that you needed to act out because you're going to some kind of like acting thing. I don't know, a thing that people act at. So similar to that, we are looking at a scene that they've set for us. So they tell us who we are. We need to apologize. Like your friend has to apologize, and we have to kind of give our friend advice. Now, I can probably assume that this insert is going to have something to do with like apologies. So write a letter to your friend giving advice on what they should do. So I want to it tells us that we must write a letter. So we need to know the conventions of a letter. What makes a letter? And it's not just that it's got the heading in the right, the address in the right place. That's not what makes it a letter. A letter has very specific conventions, and a way that it's written is to achieve a specific purpose. And so what we're doing here is we are taking the information from both texts. So I would say that you should probably go through the text, highlight what you want to take out of both texts, and then you draw it into one thing, never quote it, just use it as a resource. Kind of like if you were ChatGPT and you're taking things from 2 different sources instead of just the one source that we had in paper 1. So you're going to evaluate the ideas about apologizing given in both texts. So you're going to not just state the ideas, you're going to evaluate the ideas. So this is a possible way to apologize. However, it could have this negative or positive consequence. Explain why your friend should or should not apologize. And so you are coming up with a reason why your friend should or should not apologize. And you're giving them some advice on how to deal with the situation. So it's going to be a letter to a friend. So it's going to be quite a friendly letter, but it isn't going to be so informal that like you're writing to your grandma, "Dear grandma, I had diarrhea last night." I wouldn't do that in a letter to my grandma, but like maybe. That's not quite appropriate to a letter to a friend in most friendships. So that's not what we're doing there, right? So you need to write 250 to 350 words, and you have to make sure that you're using both texts. Have you guys heard me? I have said many times now, both texts. Don't just use one text. So 15 marks is for your content and what you put in it, and 25 marks is for how well you write it. So it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. How you say it is actually more what it's about. Okay, so we want to see how you're writing. Now, yeah, so it's for 40 marks. You have an hour to do this question. Okay. Section B is also for 40 marks, but this time you've got 16 marks for content. So you've got 16 marks for the content and structure of your answer, and 24 marks for the style and accuracy of your writing. So here it's broken up very differently. So here we can choose different options. So we're going to choose one of these, not all of them. So firstly, I just want to just state what the difference is between a descriptive essay and a narrative essay. A descriptive essay has the purpose of a descriptive essay is to give the reader an experience. The purpose of a narrative essay is also to give the reader an experience. Okay, I'm just kidding. So the purpose of a descriptive essay is for the reader to feel like they are present, like they're experiencing it, whereas the narrative is for the reader to be engulfed in a story. Okay, so descriptive, you want to be engulfed in the world. Narrative, you want to be engulfed in a story. Okay, I think Katashka might have handled a lot of this with you. So describe a room before and after being decorated or renovated. Before and after being decorated and renovated. And so you've got 350 to 450 words. That's really, really not that many words. That's like 45 lines. It's like a page and a half. So you need to understand that writing, if I sit down and I write for 20 minutes, I write 900 words. So 450 words really isn't that much writing, and people think it's a lot of writing, but it really isn't that much if you're writing consistently. You should be writing consistently. Every day you should be writing at least 1,000 words of anything. Okay? I know that's probably not what most people tell you to do, but like I write 1,000 words a day. Now describe a room before and after being decorated or renovated, or write a description with the title, The Performer. Now this is going to split your thing into a before section and an after section. This one is going to give you the performer, but the problem is that people might look at this one and write a narrative. If you write a narrative, it's just wrong. Okay? Because you've missed the question. And yes, your descriptive writing can have some kind of plot that moves it forward, but it is by no means about the plot. And especially with something so short, writing something with a plot is going to be very difficult because it's going to kind of end up being a narrative. So what I do is I will say, what I like to do to train my students in this is I'll give you an image and I'll say, okay, now describe everything you see, everything you hear, everything you taste, smell, touch. And you describe your senses. And then you kind of combine it all into one. And so the performer, are you going to write as the performer, or are you going to write as someone seeing the performer? Or are you going to write as an external narrator who is seeing the performer? Now, narrative writing, you need to write a story which includes the words, I set off as usual that day. Oh my gosh, that you could make this hilarious, or you could make it a horror. This is a very broad thing that you could really do anything with. And so I set off as usual that day just needs to be somewhere, and you have to make sure that it includes that. I would also recommend that you don't just include it, but you make it kind of built around that so that you have some kind of focus to what you're saying. And then our narrative writing, our last option is write a story with the title Out of Time. And here we are expected to give a title. So the first one here was kind of what it's about. And then here we've got the title and the title. So the thing here is you need to know how to write narratively and descriptively. And in your exam, you just choose. It's super simple. Um, the thing that will hold you back is not practicing. If you do not practice your writing, you will not do well. My students who get A stars are my students who practice and put the work into English. And so put the work in and enjoy it.